game 2 of the NBA Finals, and that's where I want to start. Does last night's result, the Heat evening up the series 1-1, does it change your mind at all about how the NBA Finals will go down between the Nuggets and the Heat?
I think it reminds me, Mark, that the Heat are really good and are here for a reason. It's like all postseason, everyone has doubted the Miami Heat and what they can do. Uh, whether it be them just barely making it in through the play-ins, or seeming like it's they're gonna lose to the Celtics or whatever it might be. People have definitely doubted the Heat, and my thought was Nuggets in 5 at the beginning of the series.
Mm.
And when they come out there and Nikola Jokic is as dominant as he is, and all of that kind of stuff in the first game, I'm like, okay, great, yeah, easy. This is gonna be fine. I was right. Okay, great. But I think it's this game too was a reminder of what the Heat can do. Teams just get into the fourth quarter against them and just fall apart. They outscored the Nuggets 11 points in the fourth quarter. I think it's like a lot of it is the non-Jimmy Butler related players, right? So Duncan Robinson goes off, scores 10 points in the fourth quarter. That's essentially the difference right there. The entire Heat starters, like Kevin Love getting inserted back into the lineup after not playing for a little bit, he was plus 18. Jimmy Butler plus 3, Bam Adebayo plus 17, Gabe Vincent plus 17, or plus 22. It's wild. It's the shift in the players that are not named Jimmy Butler that I think made the biggest difference for the Heat. So I think the Nuggets are still going to win this series, but I think game 2 is a reminder that this is going to be a series.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I had the Nuggets in 6 before the start of the series. I think it will continue to go that way. Thought you hit the nail on the head. Really, the difference for me is the fourth quarter execution, Heat outscoring the Nuggets. And that really was the difference. Now, I wasn't surprised that the Nuggets didn't call a timeout before their final possession. I thought Jamal Murray got a good look before the final buzzer sounded, but I was surprised that the Heat didn't foul on that situation, considering that they were up 3 points as Murray dribbled the ball down the floor.
It's one of those things, like when fouling when you're up 3. I think that's just one of those things where each coach is going to react differently in each kind of situation. I'm fine with it. Obviously, the result kind of changes how you do things. I think what it came down to, though, in this game was the Heat taking away Jokic's ability to distribute the ball. He's
Mhm.
obviously he's a triple double machine. We think of all that. He scored, what was it, I think 41 points in this game. But the big thing for the Nuggets is when he is the main distributor, when he is the guy going out there and he's got 12 assists or something like that. That's when they're at their best. Looking at it here, the Nuggets are 3-7 in the regular season when Jokic had fewer than 6 assists, and he had 4 assists in this one. So
Mm.
like that's the main thing. It's that classic with a superstar where you let the superstar go off and you defend everyone else. And that, I think, is especially important when your superstar is as good of a distributor as Jokic is. And the Nuggets, by the way, are also 0-3 in the postseason when Jokic scores 40 or more points. So,
Mm.
this comes down to the players like, the Jamal Murrays of the world, the Aaron Gordons of the world having better games. So that's what's interesting. It's not so much how do you solve the Jokic problem, it's how do you contain Jokic and have him impact the game less, because you can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him.
And he makes his teammates better. Point blank period. I think Michael Porter Jr. had a bad game in game 2. I'd expect
Yeah.
him to redeem himself later on in this series, but it's that Heat zone defense. And we're talking about a zone defense in the NBA. It's a little bit of shape shifting too, because there's times where it's like, oh, this is a 1-3-1, or this is a 3-2, this is a 2-3. I think the main thing is to try to make it difficult for Jokic to get it right at the top of the key. And then they're going to just try to defend him straight up one-on-one and force him to be a scorer. Clearly, he can make you pay if you do that, but the Heat were able to eliminate the other players around Jokic in game 2. And really, the difference for me in this game is, again, I look at the fourth quarter, point blank period, when Duncan Robinson helps lift the Heat. They needed his spark
Yeah.
off the bench. I really thought that was really the key difference in game 2. And then Gabe Vincent as well, 23 points for the Heat as well. It's like, I don't know how they keep doing it, because last series it was NC State's
Caleb
Caleb
Martin.
Martin. He's come back down to earth, now averaging 3 points per game in the finals through the first 2 games. But it's the Heat culture, which I feel
Heat
like if we
culture.
took a sample size of 10 people to say, "Hey, Lewis, what is Heat culture?" we get 10 different answers too.
Well, it's Eric Spoelstra. It's what the Heat are as an organization, that tough, gritty type stuff. I mean, Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. He's so good. And it's
Okay.
Pat Riley doing Pat Riley things. It's that confidence. And I look at a couple of other things here, just pointing out. The Heat were so much more efficient in game 2, 38 of 78 from the field. In game 1, they were 39 of 96. They shot the ball 18 less times in this game and scored what, like 20 some odd more
The
points. They were
3-point
just
shooting was better too, Lewis. I didn't mean to
yeah.
interrupt you, but please
No,
continue. I
no,
thought the
no.
3-point shooting was huge for Miami.
Absolutely. And Bam Adebayo too. I know a little bit frustrating watching Bam sometimes. He's very up and down. He had 26 points in game 1, but he shot the ball 25 times. And a
Mhm.
lot of those are kind of like in the paint, but they're farther outside the paint, like just inside the elbow. Those kind of like jump shots where you're like, okay, go attack. What are you doing? And that's Jimmy Butler was attacking a lot more in the paint in this game too. Bam had 21 points, 8 of 14 in this one. So the Heat were just more efficient. If they play like this, it's going to be a long series. But I go the way of the Nuggets just because of how good the Nuggets have been. But I mean, the Heat are just one of those teams that if you doubt them, if you sleep on them, they're gonna wake you up in the middle of the night and just beat you up. That's who they are.
There is a tangible difference when Bam is on the floor compared to Zeller. I'm not trying to knock Zeller, but I noticed Jokic was targeting and hunting Zeller, and then
It's not.
quickly the Heat are like, we got to put Bam back in the
It's not. Yeah,
game
it's
to
not
try to
fair.
neutralize Jokic, who's going to do that to a lot of players, regardless of
Yeah.
who you match up against. But Bam forcing Jokic to be accountable on the defensive end as well, Lewis. That's something where even if Jokic isn't matched up on him, just the threat of Bam driving to the hoop is something that needs to continue. You've got to force Jokic to play both ends of the floor. Now, let me say this too. One other observation I had, Lewis. I don't
Yeah.
think I think it's very clear. Jimmy Butler's not 100%. What
Oh,
percentage that
exactly. Yeah.
is, I don't know, but he's got a bum ankle. I do think he's still able to control the flow of the game somewhat, and he almost serves as the Heat's de facto point guard. But I'm concerned that if he and his scoring ability is limited, and some of that is a credit to Aaron Gordon, his defensive prowess. I don't know if the Heat can steal this series if Jimmy Butler doesn't up his game as we get into game 3, game 4, and so on.
Hey, at least with the finals, there's more time in between games. Almost too much time. Don't even get me started on that. The amount of times I was like, oh yeah, game two Saturday, game 2 Saturday. No, it wasn't. But yeah, I mean, if he continues to get healthier and healthier, I think that'll be good. But it all goes back to that efficiency. And if they are efficient in attacking the paint, I think that'll go well for them. And then it's got to prevent Jokic from being able to distribute the way he has been. And you'll take a Jokic, 25, 12 and 12 night over a Jokic, 49 and 6 that night. And anytime. Yeah. If you are the Nuggets, the Heat, yeah, go let Jokic score 40 points and just try and keep his assists down. That's all you want to do.
All right, Lewis, any final thoughts for game 3 on Wednesday night before we keep this rolling here on the pod?
Nah, I'm looking. Let the superstars keep being superstars. Jokic and Jimmy Butler going at it. I love this matchup, man. I love this series. These are two guys that like I am so happy. Or one of them is going to walk away with a ring. I'm ecstatic about that.
Yeah.
So just keep it coming.